这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的英语能力在美国日常生活是完全够用的。我们开始吧。
If you had all the money in the world, would you be happy? If everybody knew your name, would you be lonely? The man in this story is Michael Jackson, the king of pop. He wrote his own songs, sang beautifully, and danced like magic. He is maybe the #1 person in the history of music. It is hard to say who is greater, him or Mozart. But he is also the most controversial artist. Some people say he was an angel, and some say he was a devil. What is the real answer? Let's find out about his real life. The story begins in 1958. A baby boy was born in a city called Gary, Indiana, and his name was Michael Joseph Jackson. Michael did not start life as a king because he started life as a very poor boy. 10 people lived in his house, and the house was very, very small. It only had 2 bedrooms. 8 children and 2 parents slept in this tight, warm space. They did not have much money, and they did not have much food, but they had music. His mother's name was Catherine. She worked in a store, but she loved music. She played the piano, and she also played a long horn called a clarinet. His father's name was Joseph. He drove a big machine for work, but at night, Joseph played the guitar in a band. The house was full of music, so the children sang and danced. Michael was the 7th child, and he had a special gift. When the little boy was only 2 years old, he still wore a baby diaper and drank from a milk bottle. But when he heard music, his body moved perfectly to the beat. His mother looked at him and said, "He is born to feel the music." The guitar string and the belt. One day, when he was just a little boy, something happened. One of Michael's older brothers did a bad thing by secretly taking their father's guitar. The brother played the guitar, and suddenly, snap! A metal string broke. The brother was very afraid, so he put the guitar back. When the father, Joseph, came home, Joseph saw the broken string. The father was angry and wanted to hit the boys, but he stopped. Nobody ever taught the boy how to play music. Joseph looked at him and asked, "Do you know how to play the guitar?" The scared boy answered, "Yes, I can." So Joseph said, "Show me what you can do." The boys sang and played. The father listened, and he was shocked, because his children were very good. The father made a big choice. Joseph made a music room in the house and started a band with his sons. They were called the Jackson 5. Michael was only 6 years old, but the young boy joined the band as the main singer. But he did not know it yet. This was the end of his childhood. His father was a very hard man, so the father made the boys practice every day. They practiced for hours and hours. They could not go outside to play, and they could not play with toys. If the boys made a mistake, the father hit them. Joseph sat in a hard chair with a thick leather belt. If Michael sang a wrong note, the father hit him with the belt. But the young singer had to dry his tears and keep singing. A year later, the young boys sang in a town talent show, and they won first place. People cheered, "We love the cute little Mike." For the next few years, they traveled to many cities, and they sang in clubs for black people. Soon, the band signed a contract with Motown Records. This was the best music company for black singers. The young boys were famous. Soon after, their first 4 songs were all #1. They made super hit songs like "I Want You Back" and "ABC." Very soon, they went on TV for the first time. They went on a show for beautiful black women, and then they went on the Ed Sullivan Show, the biggest TV show in America. The Beatles started there too. At Motown, Michael met huge older stars and learned how to sing better. During these years, little Michael made 4 music records just by himself. He sang his own songs and won his own awards. A big magazine wrote, "Michael is a wonder child with so much talent." Growing up and walking alone. Michael grew up, and the young star was not a cute little boy anymore. He was 17 years old. The brothers left Motown Records because the company controlled them too much. The company told the brothers what to wear and what to say to the newspapers. The brothers did not like it, so the band went to a new company. Being a teenager was a very hard time for Michael Jackson. His face had many red pimples, and his nose was big. One night after a show, he heard some girls asking, "Where is the cute little Michael?" They did not know this tall teenager was him. Michael cared a lot about how he looked, so this broke his heart. To make things worse, his father was mean to him. The father looked at Michael and laughed. "You are too ugly. You look like your mother." These words hurt the boy very much, and he never forgot them. As a young man, Michael met a man named Quincy Jones. Quincy was a very famous music maker. He made music for many big Hollywood movies, and Michael wanted to work with him. During this time, the young star traveled to Europe and Canada, and he also started to write his own songs. Around this time, Michael fell down while dancing and broke his nose. Then a doctor fixed his nose. Michael asked the doctor to make his nose smaller. He wanted to look different. So he did not have a wide nose like his father. But at the same time, the doctor made a mistake. Michael had trouble breathing after that. So he had to fix his nose again and again later. Soon after, Michael faced a big moment. He had 2 choices. First, he could stay with his brothers. Their band was already very famous, so this was safe and easy. He could just listen to his father. Second, he could become a solo singer. This choice was harder, and he would need to work much harder. What would he do? Michael wanted to be free. He wanted to escape his father's control. So he chose to fly. He left his brothers and worked with Quincy Jones. He stopped making pure black R&B music. Instead, he made a cool new music called funk. The new solo star made an album called Off the Wall. It was a huge hit, selling 20 million copies. He won 3 big American music awards. But his choice had a price. He broke the family rule and became a solo star. The young man started his walk into a very lonely world. The King of Pop. A few years passed. The new star wanted more, and he was now 24 years old. In 1982, Michael made a new album called Thriller. Thriller became the biggest album in the history of the world. It sold 66 million copies. Think about that huge number. It was number 1 on the Billboard chart for 37 weeks. At this time, there was a wall in music. Black people listened to R&B and blues, while white people listened to rock music. White TV stations, like MTV, did not play black people's music. Then, Michael faced a big test. He could keep making black music. This was the tradition, and his black fans would love him as their hero. But he wanted more. He wanted to mix white rock music and black music, and he wanted to force the white TV stations to play his songs. He wanted his music to be heard by everyone, white and black. So the superstar made a song called Beat It, and it was about walking away from a fight. He asked a famous white rock guitar player to play in it. He made a song called Billie Jean, but it was not a happy love song. He made short movies for his songs, and the movies were so good that MTV had to play them. Michael broke the wall. White people and black people bought his music, and he won 8 Grammy Awards in one night. But there was a price. Because the King of Pop belonged to everyone, he did not belong to just his black fans anymore. So he became an outsider. One night, Michael sang on a huge TV show for Motown's 25th birthday. He wore a black jacket and one white glove covered in bright, shiny stones. He did a special dance. He walked backward, but he looked like he was walking forward. It was called the moonwalk. A clever dancer taught him the move, but Michael made it magic. People watching TV cried, "We cannot believe our eyes! It is magic!" As time passed, the superstar made more albums. He made the album Bad a few years later, and it had 5 #1 songs, selling 45 million copies. That is crazy! Then he made Dangerous. It sold 32 million copies by mixing rock, soul, and drum sounds made by his mouth. The King of Pop traveled the world and did 70 shows. In 2 years, 3.5 million people came to see him sing, and he made $100 million. At the peak of his fame, Michael sang at the biggest sports game in America, the Super Bowl. He even helped make his own clothes for the show. He stood on the stage and did not move for almost 2 minutes. The people went crazy. The superstar had total control of the world. Then, something beautiful happened. Thousands of children came on the stage to sing "We Are the World" with him. Because he was the biggest star in the world, cameras followed him everywhere. He could not walk on the street like a normal person, and he only felt relaxed in his own home. When he was a little boy, he loved the idea of Disneyland, but he never went there. So, he decided to build his own Disneyland. He bought a huge piece of land and called it Neverland. It was his dream house. He built a zoo with wild animals, and he built 18 loud, fast rides like a theme park. He wanted to hide from the real world and find his lost childhood. But the world can be cruel. Fire, pain, and the lies. To understand Michael's pain, we must go back in time to 1984. The superstar made a TV ad for Pepsi, but there was an accident with the fire. Suddenly, bright, hot fire burned Michael's head. The burn was very deep, and the pain was terrible. When he went to the hospital for help, he also visited other sick people with terrible burns. After he got better, Pepsi gave him $1.5 million because of the fire. This was a huge amount of money, but surprisingly, Michael did not keep it. He used all the money to build a special burn hospital for other sick people. But his life changed forever. The pain in his head was too strong. What could he do? He could stop singing, go home, rest for a long time, and step down from being the King of Pop to heal his body. But the artist was a perfectionist, so he did not want to stop. He took strong medicine from the doctor to stop the pain. He kept dancing and kept his crown. But this was a dark door, because for the rest of his life, the King of Pop needed medicine to stop his pain. After that, his body changed. Michael got a rare, weird sickness. It was called vitiligo, and this sickness kills the color in the skin. White spots grew on his dark brown skin, and it looked like a map. He also had another bad sickness called lupus. This is a sickness where a person's own body attacks itself. It gave him terrible pain inside and outside. Because Michael was a superstar and a perfectionist, this sickness broke his heart. He felt his beautiful image was completely ruined, and he was in deep pain. As a proud man, he absolutely did not want to tell the world about his sickness. He wanted to keep his broken body a secret. But he still had to show his face. As a star, he could not go on TV with a face of two colors. If he showed his real, sick skin, people would look at him with pity, and his perfect image would die. The superstar did not want that. At first, the white spots were small, so he used dark makeup to cover them and look black. But as time passed, the white areas grew very big. He could not hide them with dark makeup anymore. So he had to change. He used heavy white makeup to cover his remaining dark skin. He made his whole body look the same color, and he hid from the sun under an umbrella. He wanted to look perfect on stage. His mother later said, "He did not want to look like a spotted cow." But his choice to wear makeup had a terrible price. The public did not know Michael was sick. The newspapers saw his white skin, and the newspapers wrote lies. They shouted, "Michael Jackson hates being black. He bleaches his skin. He wants to be a white man." Michael was very sad about these lies. He was very proud to be a black man. To answer them, he wrote a famous song called "Black or White." He sang to the world, "It does not matter if you are black or white." The newspapers became very mean. First, they kept guessing about his new skin color. They did not believe he was sick, so they wrote that he used secret, expensive creams to bleach his body every day. By the way, even today, there is no medicine or cream in the world that can make a person completely white. Then they attacked his face. Michael had changed his nose 2 times because he could not breathe. But the newspapers said he changed his whole face. They even wrote, "He has had more cuts than the Statue of Liberty." This was a cruel joke. It meant the doctors cut his face with a knife too many times for plastic surgery. The newspapers called him Wacko Jacko, which means Crazy Jackson. They wrote lies and laughed. "He sleeps in an oxygen box to live forever. He takes medicine to keep his voice high." The media monster grew too big, and soon people believed the king of pop was a crazy monster. All this pressure hurt the lonely star deeply. His body suffered in other ways. He was tall, almost 5 feet 10 inches, but he stopped eating. Sometimes he treated not eating as a punishment for himself. The superstar got so thin that doctors sometimes had to give him liquid nutrition through his arm. The 2 court cases. Because people believed Michael was strange, bad people saw a chance to take his money. When he was at the top of the world, a very bad thing happened. One day, Michael's car broke down, so he rented a car. The car shop belonged to a man, and this man introduced his stepson to Michael. Soon, the superstar became good friends with the young boy and his mother. They often visited Michael's big house, Neverland. But there was a dark shadow. The boy's real father was a dentist, and the parents were divorced. This real father was very jealous of Michael, and he wanted to get rich. One day, the dentist father pulled the boy's tooth. He gave his son very strong medicine. The medicine made the boy sleepy, and his mind was completely confused. While the boy was in this confused state, the bad father asked him questions and planted a dark lie. He made the confused boy say, "Michael touched me in a bad way." The police and the FBI came. The boy said Michael showed his naked body to him. The FBI made Michael take off all his clothes, and they looked at his cold, naked body for 25 minutes. They took pictures. This made him feel deeply humiliated. The police asked the boy questions about Michael's private body parts. The boy said, "Yes, Michael showed them to me." But his answers were completely wrong. The FBI looked at the pictures, and they knew the truth. The boy was lying. The FBI also found a secret tape. On the tape, the real father called the boy's stepfather on the phone. The real father laughed proudly and said, "I will get all the money I want." The father asked for $30 million. The superstar was innocent, but he was very tired. He could not eat, he lost a lot of weight, and he lost his deals with big companies. He could fight the father in court, but if he fought, he would lose his world tour. The newspapers would write dirty things every day, and his mind might break. His music company told him to stop the fight. The exhausted singer just wanted the nightmare to end, so he paid $23 million to close the case. But the price was huge. When people saw he paid money, people thought, "He paid money, so he must be guilty." This choice hurt his good name forever. After the family got the money, the boy quickly left his parents. He moved to another city and lived alone. He did not see his parents for a very long time. Many years later, the boy was in the news again. He called the police on his own real father because his angry father hit the boy's head with a heavy weight and used pepper spray to hurt him. 10 years passed. The lonely star wanted to show people his real life, so he let a British TV reporter come to his house, Neverland. In the house was a boy named Gavin. Gavin had a bad blood sickness called leukemia, and Michael let Gavin live in his house for free to help Gavin get better. But the TV reporter wanted to make big news. The reporter cut the video in a bad way to make Michael look evil. Gavin's mother saw this, and the mother saw a chance to get money, so she went to the police. One cold winter, the police put handcuffs on Michael. His brother was very angry and shouted, "They are hunting Michael like an animal! They are killing him like the old, bad days!" This time, the king of pop was in a very dark place. Would he pay money again? He could try to pay money again to run away, just like last time. But Michael knew this would not bring a good end, and he did not want to give up this time. Michael told the world, "Truth runs a marathon." He decided to fight in court. The tired star had to go to the courtroom every day, and he had to let the whole world watch him bleed. Sometimes he was too weak to walk, and he went to court in his sleeping clothes. He showed his weakest self to the world, and he fought for 2 years. The FBI checked everything, and the FBI found 0 bad things. 2 long years later, the judge said, "Not guilty." Michael was completely free. The mother who lied was later caught stealing $150,000 of welfare money from the government. In the end, Michael won, but the fight killed his spirit. He weighed only 110 pounds. He closed his big house, Neverland. Because the FBI searched the house many times, it did not feel like a warm home anymore. Then he left America and hid in a small country far away in the Middle East. The media killed the truth for money, and they almost killed the king of pop. Marriage and children. We know about his music and his pain, but what about his love? What about his private life? Let's pause and look back. During his hardest days, Michael married Lisa Presley, the daughter of Elvis Presley, another king of music. They loved each other, but they had no peace. Lisa could not handle the crazy media. Every time they went out, cameras and reporters followed them all day long. They could not go to the park, and they could not buy food in a store. After 20 months, Lisa could not take the pressure anymore, so they gave up and got a divorce. Some people said, "The marriage is fake." Lisa was very angry and answered, "It is real love." Even after the divorce, Michael and Lisa tried to get back together for 4 years. A few years after the divorce, the superstar wanted children very much. A woman named Debbie Rowe worked for Michael's skin doctor. Debbie was a good friend, and she loved Michael very much. Debbie saw he was very sad, so Debbie said, "I will give you a baby." They got married, and they had a boy named Prince and a girl named Paris. Debbie later said, "I did not do it for money. I did it because Michael is a good man." When they divorced, Debbie let Michael keep the kids because Debbie knew he would never hurt a child. Later, Michael had a third child. It was a boy, and they called him Blanket. This baby was made using science in a doctor's lab. Then, a woman carried the baby in her body for the singer, but nobody knew who she was. The media was mean again. The media looked at the 3 children. All 3 children had very light, white skin. The media yelled, "These are not his kids. He is lying." Michael did not answer. Many years later, the oldest son, Prince, grew up, and people saw something on his body. Prince had the same skin sickness as his father. The truth came out. They are his kids. Business and the big heart. We saw his family life. Now, let's look at his business power and his big heart. Outside of his home, this lonely star was not just a singer. He was a smart business boss with a great business manager. But he always used his money for good. When he first became a superstar, he made $5 million from his shows, and he gave it all away. He made a song called "Man in the Mirror," and he gave all the money from that song to poor people. At the height of his power, he did 2 huge things. First, he showed his business power. Michael saw a chance to buy the rights to many famous songs, including the songs of the Beatles. He could just be a singer, keep his good friend, Paul McCartney of the Beatles, and stay out of the big money game. Or he could pay a lot of money and buy the songs to become a very powerful boss in the music world. The ambitious star wanted that power, so he bought the songs. He became very powerful. But he lost his friend Paul. Why was Paul angry? Years before, Paul had taught Michael a business secret: buy song rights to make money. Paul did not own his own Beatles songs, and he wanted to buy them back. But Michael used Paul's secret and bought the songs first. Paul felt betrayed, because his friend now owned his life's work. Also, every time Paul sang his own songs, he had to pay some money to Michael. Also, the old rich men in the music business were angry because a black man now owned their best songs. And this made the king of pop even more alone later in his life. But in the same year, he showed his big heart. At that time, there was a terrible famine in Africa. Millions of people had no food and were starving to death. Michael wanted to help feed the world. So he and another famous singer wrote a song called "We Are the World." Michael organized 40 of the biggest superstar singers in America to sing it together in one room. They made $63 million, and they gave all the money to charity to save lives in Africa. He also used his dream house, Neverland, to help others. He had a special team to invite poor and sick children from all over the world to his house. The superstar paid for their doctors and medicine, and he loved to play with these kids in his park. He even built special, super clean movie theaters in Neverland. These theaters had hospital beds, so that very sick children could lie down safely and watch movies. He paid $10 million a year to run this magical place, and it needed 150 workers every day. But the dream did not last forever. Because of the 2 terrible court cases, Michael lost a huge amount of money. He lost his business deals, and he had to pay millions of dollars back to big companies. In the end, he had to sell Neverland. The magic ended, and the poor and sick children lost their theme park. He never stopped giving. The superstar did big shows for children in war and for poor children in Africa. Stars from all over the world, even from Asia, came to sing with him. In the end, Michael gave more money to help people than any other star in history. How he made magic. Through all his pain and lost dreams, one thing never changed: his magic. Many people know Michael was a great singer and an amazing dancer. But few people know a secret about him. Some people think other music makers wrote his songs for him. But that is not true. Michael wrote most of his famous songs himself, and he created many, many of them. How did he make such great music? He never had a music teacher. He could not read music notes on paper, and he could not play the piano or guitar very well. So how did he do it? The genius used his mouth, and he bought a small tape machine. He made the drum sounds with his mouth, and he sang the low bass sounds and the high string sounds. He put all the sounds on the tape, and then he gave the tape to other people to play on real instruments. He made more than 200 songs this way. His songs were deep. Other singers sang about boys and girls in love, but Michael sang about the crying earth. He made Earth Song to tell people to stop cutting down trees, and he made They Don't Care About Us to fight bad police and bad laws in Brazil. He sang Scream with his sister to fight the angry media, and he made a scary, great short movie called Ghosts with dark shadows. His voice was special. He could sing very high and soft, and he could sing very low and hard. His look was also special. People asked why his face looked like a man and a woman at the same time. He proudly answered, "It is just for the art." His dancing was the same. The superstar looked at people on the street. He looked at old dancers, and he took their moves to make them new. When he danced, you did not just see movement. You felt his feelings, and people said, "Nobody can copy the King of Pop." The Last Choice. All this magic made Michael a living legend. Many years later, he won a Diamond Award because he sold over 100 million records. But things were hard. In 2009, the lonely star was 50 years old, and he had big trouble. He had no money. He owed people $500 million, and he might lose his Beatles song rights. The King of Pop made a plan and said, "I will do a final show in London." It was called This Is It. He wanted to do 10 shows, but the people went crazy. In 2 hours, they bought 1 million tickets. The boss who organized the show talked to Michael, and together they changed it to 50 shows. Soon, he moved to Los Angeles to practice in a huge, cold, empty building. But his body was broken. The exhausted man was too thin. He had too much pain. And worst of all, his mind could not stop. He could not sleep. For days and days, this tired man lay in bed with his eyes open. He faced his final test. What would he do? He could tell the world, "I am sick and I cannot do it." He could cancel the 50 shows. If he did, he would have to pay a big fine, lose his song rights, and lose his pride. He would have to tell the world he was broken. But the proud superstar could not do that. He wanted to push his body. He wanted to take very strong medicine, the kind used in hospitals for cutting people open, to force his brain to sleep. Then he could wake up and practice. He wanted to show his kids that their father was still the greatest king. He did it for his children, and he did it for his pride. He hired a private doctor. On June 25, 2009, Michael could not sleep, so he begged the doctor for help. The doctor gave him a cold, white liquid medicine called propofol. This is a very strong hospital medicine. Once it goes into the body, the person is completely asleep and knows nothing. Michael called it his milk, but it is very dangerous. It can make the body stop working. Because of this, a doctor must sit next to the bed and watch the person carefully for 2 hours. The medicine made the tired star sleep, but the doctor did a very bad thing. What did the doctor do? The doctor did not watch his patient. The doctor went away to talk on his phone with his girlfriend. The medicine was too strong. Slowly, Michael's heart slowed down. And then, his heart stopped forever. The doctor came back, but it was too late, and the king of pop was dead. When he died, the world stopped. The internet crashed because too many people were searching for his name. Millions of people cried. I, your friend Spencer, the maker of this English learning channel, am a huge fan of Michael. I was in college when he died. I heard the sad news at noon. I cried, and my heart was broken. Like me, people all over the world felt the same pain. More than 31 million people watched his goodbye on TV in America. Michael was buried in a quiet, beautiful place in California. Big papers like the New York Times and Time magazine wrote, "He was a legend." Suddenly, the newspapers changed their stories. The people who wrote bad lies about the star for 20 years now wrote good things. They cried, "He was a genius, and he was a kind man." The bad TV reporter from Britain made a new video to say sorry. Michael Jackson gave his whole life to the world. He gave his childhood to his father. He gave his health to the stage. He gave his money to the poor. And he gave his heart to the children. In the end, he gave his life to his art. He was a boy who just wanted to be loved. He was a king who changed the world. This is his story. For a long time, I wanted to make a video about Michael Jackson, but I was afraid. I thought, maybe people have forgotten him. But recently, a new movie about his life came out. I think this is a beautiful chance for everyone to learn about the real Michael Jackson. If you like this story, please type Goodbye, Michael in the comments below. Thank you.
太棒了，你把故事听完了，你离英语自由又近了一步。欢迎加入频道会员，支持频道发展。会员可获得影片的中英文对照学习资料、跟读练习视频、影片、MP3 文件等福利。这里是像学母语一样学英语频道，我们下个视频见。